Swiss investigators ruling out arson or some kind of attack in the deadly fire that swept a crowded
Alabama's ninth. It was
early on New Year's Day. 40 people were killed, more than 100 others injured. Last night, a vigil held for the victims. Vowing to govern as a Democrat socialist, Zoran Mamdani has been sworn in as New York City's 112th mayor. San Diego is reeling after torrential rains unleashed flash flooding, resulting in numerous swift water rescues. Facing pressure from the Trump administration, Venezuela's dictator says his government is open to reaching a deal with the U.S. to fight drug trafficking. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 183 points. More details at srnnews.com.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever, and
just how long can that D-line hold up?
On their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Happy
The holiday season just got brighter at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Wrap up the year with 0% for 36 months on all 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer and Equinox models. Or slide into a new GMC, 1.9% for 36 months on a 26 Arcadia, plus up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with Turbo Max with eligible trade-in. Big savings, big style, and big holiday cheer. Only at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Stop in today or visit online at hurlchev.com.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
WKS Radio News, I'm Connor Schuh. A couple days ago, the Kansas Highway Patrol released its annual Christmas holiday activity report. The patrol saw a large increase in the number of DUI arrests covering the time period from 6 p.m. Christmas Eve through 11:59 this past Sunday. Those arrests were up 285% from the 2024 Christmas enforcement, up to 27 total from only 7 arrests last year. Troopers also issued more speeding tickets and speeding warnings compared with previous years. The number of speeding tickets increased 238% from 2024, and the number of warnings more than doubled from 309 to 784. There was only one fatal crash in the period this year, and it was a non-DUI accident. 64-year-old Deborah Kendig of Dodge City died at Wesley Medical Center in Wichita after the crash on Highway 156, 5 miles west of Ellsworth. For these and other stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Today will be similar to yesterday with highs in the upper 50s to around 60 with some clouds. Areas of fog up east of Highway 83 to start off the morning. Lingering through midday, they could keep temperatures in the lower 50s in that direction. Light southwesterly winds at 5 miles per hour turn to the northwest around 10. Tonight is colder than previous nights due to clear skies and light winds. Lows will drop into the upper 20s and lower 30s. Dense fog is possible east of highways 25 and 83 again tomorrow morning, but then it's generally pleasant in the afternoon with sunny skies and highs reaching in the lower 60s. Winds will turn to more west-southwest direction at 5 to 15 miles per hour, and lows again will be warmer in the mid to upper 30s. Sunday through Tuesday will be very mild and dry. Highs will be well above average in the 60s, lows in the 30s above freezing. And temperatures this time of year typically in the 40, 45 degree range. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
All rock, all the time. Welcome to Rocket 1025.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
Kick off 2026 ready for whatever winter brings. At Hoover Lumber, Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, they've got the gear to start the new year strong. Get organized with rugged storage totes. And when the snow starts falling, if it does, power through it with Ego and Craftsman snow blowers. Or if it's just the light stuff, blow it away with Ego leaf blowers. And don't forget ice melt to keep your sidewalk safe all season long. New year, winter ready. Hoover Lumber, Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Helpful folks, trusted brands, and everything you need to get it done.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Connor Schuh.
He's a new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon the crossover back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pest Away LLC, Topside Portables and Pupping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Handoff Nelson, starts right, cuts back left, has a lane, 35-30, 25-20, left side numbers. Nelson is gone. Touchdown, Huskers.
Snap, handoff, Brown, and he's into the end zone. That is a game sealer for the Hurricanes.
Play fake, Mendoza backs up, throws back to the end zone, caught, touchdown, Omar Cooper Jr.
Georgia trying to block it. There's the kick. And it's on its way. And it's got the distance. And it's through the upright. The Rebels have taken the lead. Holy mackerel.
Holy mackerel is what we were all saying late last night watching that CFP football game, as once again, it is Ole Miss and Pete Golding. How about Lane Kiffin earning a $500,000 bonus for winning that game yesterday?
I hope they don't have to give him that. That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's in the contract, baby. $500,000 going to Lane Kiffin for that win, even though he had nothing to do with it. But he's going to get his money, is old Lane Kiffin.
It's a shame.
Oh, my gosh. We are back on here on a Friday morning, January the 2nd. Happy New Year to all those out there. Hope you had hope 25 was a good year. I hope 26 is an upcoming great year for you, but Happy New Year. Connor, you got any New Year's resolutions for this upcoming 2026?
I'm going to try to read more, I think.
Oh,
what about you?
That's a good one. Boy, that should probably be on my list too, honestly. I should probably
It's tough these days, man.
I think I'd be really good at books on tape. I think that'd be my thing. I think I'd be better at the books on tape thing. So,
yeah,
but it's not going to happen right now.
Right.
I am not. I don't know why. I have a system, and I guess I'm going to stick to it. But that's probably one thing that I should get better at. My dad he was not a big reader growing or as I was growing up. But I'm telling you, over the last decade, my dad reads I swear it's probably a book every week to 2 weeks.
It's impressive.
I mean, he's a reading machine, and it's I'm still a visual learner. I guess that's the way to put it.
Well, you use your eyes to read, don't you?
Valid point. Valid point.
There you go.
Very valid point. I should be better. I need to be better at reading. It's a very good point. But anyway, off and rolling on a Friday program. Going to be some pretty nice weather today and this weekend. Temperatures anywhere from the upper 50s today into what could be even the low 70s come Sunday. So not going to feel very cool or wintertime weather here on the high plains over the weekend, just to let you know. But we are back to a regular schedule after today. We'll be gone, of course, the weekend, and then back on Monday for a full week as we get going. But it kind of felt like we needed to get back here on Friday because we've got some local sports starting back up here on a Friday, including Colby Eagle basketball taking on Larned. Real quickly, thoughts on the Eagles against the Indians of Larned tonight?
Don't know a lot about Larned, but out-of-conference opponent. They're 2-4 to start the season, but apparently they have this this big kid who's like 6'7", 6'8", and has apparently been dominating lately. So I think his name's Kyler something. I can't pull out the last
What a name, Kyler something.
Sorry to that kid, but I saw Sports in Kansas did a little feature on him, and apparently he's been pretty good lately. So I don't know. Game plans probably stop him and see where you go from there.
Well, that is tonight, and that is actually at home, isn't it?
Yes, it's at home.
I know. I think I mentioned on Tuesday's show. I said I thought it was on the road. I was wrong. It is.
And I agreed because Max Preps said it was on the road, but Max Preps is often wrong. I have learned time and time again not to trust it.
Yep, can't be too trustworthy of that. That is for sure. So, yes. So Connor Schuh will have some coverage on 100 Point Through the Ride, our sister station. As he brings you some Colby Eagle basketball, getting the 2026 portion of the basketball season. It's not the second half yet, but we know it's after the Christmas break. And so we'll have that for you on 100.3 The Ride. There's a few other games going on here. I should say I lost my spot here. There are a few other games going on as well from around the listening area today. You've got Wheatland Grinnell at Greeley County, Decatur Committee hosting Logan, Palco, Hoxie hosting Osborne. But other than that, everyone waiting until Tuesday to jump back in to the high school basketball season. There's also no really wrestling this weekend besides Colby Community College going to the Jet Open on Sunday. And then I cannot forget about there is the Fort Hays Tech Northwest Colby Community College basketball teams back getting in action this Saturday. CCC hosting Hutchinson and Fort Hays Tech Northwest going down to Dodge City after the holiday break. Those teams are back on the hardwood. So there you go. A quick little local sports episode. We felt like it was a good thing to get back on the air Friday so we could bring you this information about the local sports. It also gives us a chance for our college football playoff reactions, which we got to see 4 playoff games starting on Wednesday night with Miami taking down Ohio State, followed by Oregon shutting out Texas Tech, Indiana just blasting Alabama. And then to cap it off with the best game of the weekend, Ole Miss pulling one out late over over Georgia, which I don't know about you, but in the very end of that game, Georgia Ole Miss, did anybody happen to check the spread? Because I did as soon as that ball hit the pylon. Because I thought, what if it was 3.5?
There's some degenerates that aren't too happy about that one.
I don't think it honestly mattered a whole lot because the spread from what I saw was at 2.5. And so it was either 3 or 5. But I mean, imagine if it was 3.5. That was the spread.
Or if you took the alt spread.
You talk about the ultimate bad beat. I mean, you had a second is all you had to get rid of. 1 second you had it done, and all that onside kick. And honestly, there was a part in that game where I was sitting there watching that, Connor, at the very end. I was like, by golly, I sure hope to God Georgia pulls this miracle off with 1 second and 80 yards to go.
Really?
Wouldn't that just been the nuttiest thing to ever see in your lifetime?
It would have been.
That's my point. Like, you would have never seen that. You would never see it again.
That is true. But then that would end the Ole Miss. I don't know what you would call it, but I don't know if I would even want to call it an upset run because they're a great team. But totally in spite of Lane Kiffin, that would all be down the drain if Georgia was able to score there.
I know it would have been. And I get that. My point was, as much as I'm happy Ole Miss won, my point being it would have been crazy to see something that bizarre happen.
Oh, definitely.
If there was 1 second left, they had brought in the victory stage onto the field, not once, but twice. They had to roll it off. I mean, it was a complete you-know-what show.
Yes.
But it would have been funny to see that all just completely blow up for some reason. So anyway, where do you want to start? I'll let you lead things off. College football playoff reaction here in segment number 1 of the Morning Blitz.
Well, we'll get the first game out of the way. This one was a little disappointing. I mean, I was talking Friday night, but we can go here first.
You want to talk Miami? I will. Let's see here. I have that up here. Go ahead, talk about it. I'll find it.
Well, this is one I didn't get to see as much of. Unfortunately, some of us were at our coworker Christina's house celebrating New Year's Eve, but I was watching it on my phone intently for part of that. And as an alumni of Ohio State, that was not the greatest showing. The Miami really dominated in the trenches all game, and it felt like they were the tougher team. Their defensive line kind of dominated, as you're probably going to see in some of these clips. I mean, look at all that pressure on that screen pass before Julian Sain throws that one right into. God, we threw too many screen passes.
Connor Heisman's trophy guy right there. Should have won.
We threw too many screens, and Julian Sain he actually didn't play too bad. I mean, that's like one low light, and that was his only interception, but it wasn't great. They brought Brian Hartline back in to call plays, and it was just kind of it was a little bit of a mess. Got to give respect to Jeremiah Smith, though. He had a heck of a day, almost 160 yards on 7 catches. And then Miami, I mean, they did their thing. That defense is legit, and I think they're scary. They could win the whole thing, honestly.
Yeah, that game I watched. I didn't watch it all consecutively. I watched a lot of bits and pieces of it on Wednesday night. And I guess I'm gonna put it this way. I remember watching Miami when they played. I think it was Texas A&M. I remember watching them play when they were playing against Texas A&M, and this was, of course, early on in the season. Was it Texas A&M or no? It was Notre Dame. Sorry, Notre Dame.
Yeah, they beat Notre Dame.
And I just remember watching them, and they were just so much more physical and athletic at that time than their opposition. I was just blown away by how good they were. And I just thought, boy, that looks like a college football playoff team. I don't know about a national championship, but it just looks like a CFP team. And it just did. Not that Ohio State does not look like a CFP team, because they do. They are no doubt deserving to be in there. But here's I think that game, I think you said it very well. Miami was the more physical football team. They played with that. They won in the trenches. Take a mental note there. I don't know if they had, I just think maybe they had a little bit more experience at the quarterback spot. They ran the ball better. That was another thing too. Ohio State, I don't think ran the ball great. But Ohio State did have some great plays from their all-star receivers, including Jeremiah Smith, who once again shown out. It's still amazing that he'll be back again next year, because he's not eligible for the draft. But I mean, it's just nuts. But it was a competitive game. It was a close game for the most part. That pick six, I mean, it almost felt like it was over after that. When you throw that and it's a 70-yard pick six, it just felt like it was done. But I don't know. Give credit to Miami. They are, like you said, they won in the trenches. And they won that football game 24-14. Then you move on to Saturday. Sorry, I keep on thinking it's Saturday, but it's actually, you move on to Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, morning, whatever you want to call it. It was morning, afternoon, depending on where you were. But Texas Tech and Oregon, and I'm telling you right now, Oregon just took it to Texas Tech. Texas Tech did not look sharp enough offensively. They made way too many mistakes offensively. Oregon's defense looked very, very good. Texas Tech's defense tried very, very hard to keep them in.
They looked good, and
they played very well, but it just wasn't enough when the Texas Tech offense just did not have enough going for it. Once again, Oregon won in the trenches. They won in the offensive and defensive line. They got great pass rush on Brian Morton, caused some turnovers. I mean, you can't win football games when you have 4 turnovers, and that's what Texas Tech had. You can't do that. It's not possible. So to win a game with 4 turnovers rarely ever happens, and they were not going to win that game. And to me, that's the biggest reason why they lost that game, was the turnovers, once again, due to the trenches that were put on display by Oregon. Not that Texas Tech didn't have some good defense on it, because they did, and they got pressure on Dante Moore. And like I said, I give credit to Texas Tech's defense, but it was not enough offensively from the Red Raiders.
No, Baron Morton had only 137 passing yards and 2 picks. He also lost a fumble, like you said. And on top of that, they didn't really get much from their best running back, Cameron Dickey. He only had 29 yards and had 2.6 yards per carry after a pretty good year. And against an Oregon defense that's one of the best in the league. And no discredit to the Big 12, because that's not what I'm here to do. most of those teams don't quite have the defense of an Oregon, which is it's something that Morton hasn't really seen. Like BYU, pretty good defense they faced in the Big 12 title game, but they're not Oregon, and you could tell Morton was a little, phased, I guess you could say, against this defense. But again, like you said, you got to give credit to the Texas Tech defense. They kept it pretty close there for a while. It was a 6-0 game at halftime, and Oregon really had to gut it out to get those points. I mean, they scored 10 of them in the fourth quarter when the game already felt pretty much out of hand, and Oregon only rushed for 64 yards total, and that does include sack yardage for Dante Moore, which I always think is stupid that counts for rushing yards. I don't understand that at all, but got to give credit on both sides. Two great defenses, but Oregon just a little bit too much. I'm excited to see what they can do against Indiana. I think they're going to put up a better fight than Bama. Ugh.
Well, Oregon just once again, they played very well in the trenches, got it done there. Texas Tech, the defense wore down as the game went on. I mean, it was really a 16-0 game. I mean, there was a late touchdown, as you saw in the highlights there, which put them, over the top to give them that 23-point or 23-0 win. It was pretty much that. So Oregon was dominant, and really the Big Ten was dominant, minus Ohio State. The Big Ten was dominant because what Indiana did to Alabama in just wiping the floor with them in 38-3 out in Pasadena was nuts. To say, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm still having a hard time just seeing this happen, I guess, on a consistent basis. Watching Indiana go out and just wipe the thing. No one. I mean, if I would have said that 10 years ago to you, Connor Schuh, you would have said, you're a drunken man, Ross.
Yes.
Indiana is not going to wipe the floor with Alabama in 10 years. Well, it happened. They did. They wiped the floor with Alabama. Alabama didn't even stand a chance. I mean, 38-3, it's not even close.
No.
It's not even close. And guess what? Fernando Mendoza didn't go out there and just absolutely light it up with some nuts statistics. I mean, very efficient. 14-16, 192, 3 touchdowns. He did a lot of great little things in that game. Where, once again, did Indiana exploit Alabama? In the trenches. Heck, Joe Coogan, the center for Indiana, won the MVP. Sorry, Pat Coogan won the MVP. Pat Coogan, MVP of the Rose Bowl.
That's so cool. Love seeing a center win that.
Yes, it's amazing. But they ran the football and just continued to just pound at Alabama and did not give up. And Alabama wore down over time. They passed when they had to. And physically, Indiana's defense kept what has become an Alabama team that used to be built on physicality, now is more of a passing style underneath Kalen DeBoer, who is more of that. It's what he wants to do as a passing guy. It's got to be sickening. I bet it is absolutely sickening for Alabama fans.
Oh, definitely.
It's got to be sickening. You think about it. You used to do what you just got done to you for that entire game.
I have evidence from one of my closest friends is a Bama fan, and he was not pleased, to say the least, saying they're soft, undisciplined, but they had to say that they're still the more talented team than Indiana. So, the SEC fans are still.
Well, if you want to go based upon recruiting rankings, yes, they are the more talented team
according to recruiting rankings. But again, you got to prove those rankings on the field.
Matter.
It doesn't matter exactly.
It doesn't matter if you're more talented. You got whooped.
Yes.
It'd be different if you lost on a last-second field goal or a last-second play or something like that. No, you got whooped. Yes. You lost by 35 points.
Embarrassed, frankly.
That's 5 touchdowns you lost by. You got blown out of the water by Indiana.
Say that much.
They were nuts. They were really, really good. And I'm just going to have to sit here and accept it because I don't know why. If Indiana hoists a national championship trophy, I don't know if my mind can compute that. It just seems so far-fetched. But that's what Indiana has done.
Yeah, they're a great team.
Just absolutely dominant. And then last night, of course, was an absolute classic in the Sugar Bowl. As you saw, an unbelievable performance from from, oh gosh, I keep on hitting the wrong one all the time. Let's do this better. There we go. Pete Golding and stuff and Ole Miss out there. I don't know, your thoughts on this back and forth affair, because it looked like Georgia was going to kind of pull away maybe early on, but Trinidad Chambliss put on a magician's hat and just did some crazy things in the second half, which resulted in Ole Miss coming back to win.
He did, yeah. At the half, it was 21-12, and I don't know if you saw it, but the clock management at the end of the half was
yes,
brutal. And it was on that, I think it was their tight end. His name is escaping me, but he cut it back inside when if he was right next to the sideline. If he would have just walked out of bounds.
Quan Wright, I think is who it was.
That sounds correct. I'm going to check real quick as I'm talking here, but
I think it was him. Yeah, he could have got out of bounds. They could have got a field goal. Instead, he went back into the field of play and got tackled. They didn't have a timeout. They had to try to do the old Geronimo and run the special teams kick. I mean, there was no way it was going to get off in time.
They didn't come close. Yeah, and that was Daquan Wright. He cut it back inside, but then, like you said, Trinidad Chambliss, that second half, Ole Miss scored 20 points in the fourth quarter, and I think halfway through the quarter, he hadn't thrown an incompletion in the fourth quarter. He was 6 for 6 for 80-some yards and a touchdown, and when it was all said and done, he might have only thrown like 1 or 2 in the quarter. He was lights out, and he was making some tough throws. It wasn't just easy dump-offs and stuff. He was thrown off balance, running to his right, just chucking it downfield, layering it over defenders. I mean, he looked so good. It was incredible. And you got to give credit to their running back, too, Kewan Lacey, who unfortunately just showed fumbling right there. But aside from that, he had a pretty good game. 2 touchdowns, 98 yards. Just a very all-around good performance from Ole Miss. And I got to shout out Harrison Wallace III, their number 1 receiver, 156 yards and a touchdown. I remember him at Penn State last year. He didn't do a thing, but he transferred to Ole Miss, and I mean, he just stepped up, man. That was good stuff.
I think the amazing thing to me about this game is the SEC prides itself in kind of being the more physical football league, great defense, all that stuff. That was a Big 12 game if you've ever seen it from the olden days. Back and forth, offensive fireworks, and don't get me wrong, entertaining as heck. It was fun to watch. But defenses really couldn't find stops a whole lot. A lot of points were scored. It was Trinidad Chambliss. The story of him is amazing. A Division II transfer from Ferris State. And he's out here just absolutely, at a time, he had 13 consecutive completions, just dropping dimes everywhere and making some great throws. And they have Kewan Lacey, who is a really good running back, transfer from Missouri, who played some as a freshman, but didn't look as good as he does at Ole Miss. But it's done a great job. And then he ran hard. It was hard running, but almost had 100 yards and did have 2 touchdowns, including the one that gave them the lead at the end there, before the field goal that actually won it for them. But yeah, I don't know. It was a great game. I don't think Georgia has anything to hold their head on. They just ran out of time. If that's the thing, they didn't get the last possession.
they had their chance right there, though, as you just saw.
Yeah,
they could have taken the lead.
And credit to Ole Miss. Their defense did get a stop when they needed to get a stop. They got it. But yeah, that was a great game. A lot of fun. That's what ESPN, when they spend all this billions of dollars to have it on television, that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping for that game. They're hoping for the drama. They got one of them. The other ones weren't that great, but they got one of them in that game there for Ole Miss. But it's fun. Some overlying facts here on this real quickly as we move on here, but some overlying facts in the college football playoff as we get to the Final Four next week. Here's some underlying facts from me. Look at who are the 4 head coaches in this Final Four: Mario Cristobal, Kurt Signetti,
Pete Golding,
and Dan Lanning. What do all 4 of those guys have in common?
Defensive backgrounds, right?
All coached under the great Nick Saban at one point in time. Nick Saban's coaching tree is on full display in the college football playoff. And what goes back to my point about Alabama, how sick are Bama fans knowing that their guy, Nick Saban, who led them to the unbelievable promised land for so many years, they don't have a guy leading their program underneath Saban's tree.
No,
that's got to be sickening. If you think about that, that is absolutely sickening. And the other thing that stood out to me, and this is where I bring in our other programs from around the area, whether it's Colorado, K-State, Kansas, Nebraska. If you want to be playing in these type of games and having success, there's one area you got to focus all your attention to. You have to get good in the trenches. Every team that won or played well this past weekend is good up front. Offensive line, defensive line, they're big, they can move, and they can move bodies. You have to get good in the trenches if you want to play. Doesn't matter if you've got a superstar quarterback. Doesn't matter if you've got an unbelievable wide receiver. Doesn't matter if you have this or that. You got to have the maulers up front. And if you don't have it, you're not going to have success. You're not.
Exactly. Like last year, think about Miami. They had Cam Ward, who was the best quarterback in college football, probably, but they weren't as good up front as they are this year. And now they have a worse quarterback in Carson Beck, who's not bad, obviously, but they've played so much better with more strength in the trenches.
If I'm a coach, and by the way, today the portal opens, and Cole Carmody, our good friend from Go Power Cats, going to join us. He'll talk to us more about the portal and things like that, but the portal opens today. And if I'm a head football coach at any university, I'm spending any money that I have on line play. I want defensive linemen, I want offensive linemen, and I want a lot of them. And I want them big, and I want them nasty, because that's a good. And the other thing that you need to find out there is experience. I don't know about how many times you saw a big-time play made by an offensive or defensive lineman, or even maybe some in the defense, and on the defensive side of the ball for sure. Senior, second year, whatever, third year junior, fourth year junior. You need grown men who are 22 and 23 years old. You're not going to go out there and win football games in today's college football with 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. You got to have the 22 and the 23. That's why Indiana's so good. They're super old. A lot of those guys are with Signetti at JMU. They've got all these old guys playing football on both sides of the ball, all of those games this week. You're old. I mean, Ohio State might even be one of the younger teams, honestly.
I think they
probably were one of the younger teams. And look what happened. They got beat. You have to get old. You got to be old, and you got to be big and physical in the trenches. Two things that if you're going to be in the college football playoff going forward, you got to have that done. And one more point, too, by the way, Connor Schuh. You do not want to have, thank goodness, you don't want to have a first-round bye. You don't want to have it.
I don't know about that.
Think about this. Indiana is the only football team in the 12-team college football playoff era that won after having a bye in the first round.
It's only been 2 years. We need more years to go by before we start saying this.
But that's a pretty big trend in 2 years. Now, I don't think we're going to get to have that theory tested, because they're going to move to 16 teams next year. I have a feeling. Watch.
See it.
They're going to move. But that's my point. Don't have a bot, or don't be one of the top 4 seeds. It doesn't end up working out well for you. Texas Tech goes down. Georgia goes down. Indiana is the only, once again, it's Indiana is the only team that it did not impact. Indiana!
Couldn't even imagine it 3 years ago.
It's just nuts. It's so nuts. Oh my gosh. There was just so much stuff that was pumping through my brain late last night, thinking about what we're going to talk about on the show with the college football playoff reaction, because there is so much. And I feel like I remembered it actually all that I wanted to get off my chest. But it was like I said, some real blowouts, some really good games. But like I said, those final points I made a few minutes ago, those are the reasons why those teams are winning. They're the reasons why they're there. They're old, they're big, they're physical. They got great line play. That's why they're there. Take notes if your other college football team's not playing in the CFP. That's what you have to do. Okay, we got to get to break. Cole Carmey's been waiting very patiently. We appreciate him waiting patiently. He will join us next on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Stick around. This is the Morning Blitz here on a Friday.
Cheyenne County Clinic and Hospital provides complete obstetric services, including prenatal, ultrasound, delivery, and newborn care. Their staff strives to provide a safe, nurturing birth experience for each family. If you're looking for a personal and caring prenatal experience, please call 785-332-2682 to make an appointment.
Hey everybody, Steve Bugby here, wishing you happy hunting holidays and inviting you to our annual Western Kansas Outdoor Association banquet. Same time, same place, January 24th, City Limits Convention Center in Colby. More details, go to westernksoutdoor.org.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tyler Ghosh with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It is Friday, January 2nd. March corn set to open at 440 1/4. May at 448 1/4, and December of 26 at 460 1/2. Beans on the March at 1047. The May is at 1061, and November at 1064 1/2. Kansas City wheat on the March 514 3/4. The May at 528, and July at 542. Chicago wheat on the March will set to open 574. The May at 584 1/4. July 596 3/4. S&P 500 is up 37 points at 6,929. The Dow is up 147 points at 48,483. Nasdaq up 240 points at 25,697. Crude oil down 51 cents a barrel at $56.91. Gold is up $35 an ounce at 4,376, and silver is up $2.85 an ounce at 73.46. If you have any cash grain you'd like to move or want to learn more about our freedom pricing tools, reach out and give us a call. You can reach myself, Tyler Ghosh, Jared Law, or Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, give John Hankey or John Stiles a call at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
If you're buying or selling cattle, make your first stop livestockmarket.com. Bred cows, heifers, pairs, bulls, and frozen genetics, even feeder calves. You'll find them all at livestockmarket.com. Livestock Market features private treaty sales, online auctions, and live production sale bidding. You'll also find horses, sheep, goats, and hay. Check out the free Livestock Market magazine wherever you pick up Tractor House, and download the Livestock Market mobile app today.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
It's not just sports, it's your morning game plan.
I don't even believe you have a plan. I have part of a plan. That is not a plan.
This is the Morning Blitz.
Some more thoughts coming in on the F&B Bank text line, 785-899-2222. If you want to be part of the show. David chiming in saying Indiana beat Oregon earlier in the year. They won the battle at the line on both sides. He says Indiana wins it all. I'm not going to count out the Ducks quite yet. I'm just going to say I think it's going to be a whale of a football game in that rematch. Both teams know each other. They both played each other. I think it's going to be a whale of a game. Really, really good game. And then Raleigh chiming in as well. He says, how about the game from the officials last night? Tough night for the Stripes. It was tough. There were some very blatantly, badly missed calls in that game between Ole Miss and Georgia. There were some tough ones. And, of course, the whole second fiasco at the end. But they had to do it by the book, and that's what they did. But that's what happens. Let's welcome to the program. He's been waiting so patiently. Cole Carmody, our good friend from GoPowerCat.com, joins us now. Cole, good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Good morning to you guys. You know, we all watched one really good game last night, two games that weren't so good, but I found myself really rooting hard for Indiana in that game against Alabama. I didn't want the game to end. I wanted them to win by 42 points, and I don't think I was alone in that assessment. But I don't know if you guys, I've been listening for probably about the last 20 minutes. I watched some of your show. Can we talk about Curt Cignetti and his just stoic, looks straight into the camera and never celebrates a touchdown, never celebrates a fourth down stop? There's a lot of people who I've talked to who've been around K-State for a long time. So he's got a little bit of Bill Snyder in him, and I can 100% see that from the Indiana ball coach.
No, that makes a lot of sense. He is very stoic. It's almost like as if he's been here before. He teleported ahead, time traveled ahead, and he's like, I was going to be here, and this is what's going to happen, and that's what happens. And yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's rare to see him get really emotion. He's just such a. It makes you wonder what he's like behind the scenes with his players.
Right.
I wonder how much trash he talks on the opponent.
Probably a little more fired up,
I would guess, but I don't know. Cole, you heard, like you said, you've been watching the show and heard what are your thoughts on some of the things I said about the college football playoff and being in it, particularly if you're a Colin Klein trying to get a K-State program in this example to that spot?
I think you nailed it. I mean, it's all about the interior, offensive line, defensive line. Heck, even go back and watch Texas Tech. Like, after watching Texas Tech play K-State in person, I knew that their defense was really good, but I don't think that they're getting enough credit for what they did against that Oregon offense, who's been incredibly high octane the entire season. Everybody will look at that game and they'll say that, Baron Morton and that Texas Tech offense, that they didn't do what they needed to do. And I agree with that. But I think we still need to credit Texas Tech's defense, because I think they put a blueprint on how to stop Oregon. And so even though, Kurt Signetti and that Indiana team, they've already beaten them, they'll gladly thank them for the film, because I think they kind of showed some real weakness in Oregon's offense. I agree. I think that's going to be a great game. But you're right. When you talk about the interior offensive line and specifically defensive line, you got to have guys who can get to the quarterback. Like, watch David Bailey. You watch some of those guys, even on Ole Miss. They got that guy who's 6'8" in the middle, just this behemoth of a man. Like, yeah, you have to be strong in the trenches, and I think K-State is going to really hit hard on that. There's a reason why. As we talk about this today, the last time I looked, I think they have one guy coming back on the defensive line. It's because they know they're not good enough. And so they have to get better. And in today's age of college football, you can do just that.
Cole, are there any specific names you've been seeing pop up early before this official starting of the portal? Some guys who have popped up due to coach firings and whatnot that you think K-State should target?
Well, there's a lot of local guys in the transfer portal. And so it's kind of one of those things to where if you're K-State, how do you balance going after local kids, and how do you going after guys who will help make your team better? I think there's going to be a lot of mutual interest. A guy like Josh Manning, who comes from Missouri, a wide receiver, he was really tight with Avery Johnson coming out of high school, actually silently committed to K-State before flipping to Mizzou at the very end. That's a guy I think K-State is going to, have some interest in. It was reported earlier this morning that there was 2 players who were set to visit K-State this weekend. I've been told there's almost 20 guys who are expected to be on campus this weekend, which is just crazy. But a guy by the name of Mekhi Mason, he's coming from Louisiana Tech. That's a guy who was an all-conference linebacker. Jeremiah Johnson was there 2 years ago, who's now on K-State staff. So I think there's a connection there. And then the other name that's been floated out there is De'Arian Hicks. He's a defensive lineman from Gardner-Webb. So those are the 2 names that have been public so far. There are going to be more that are going to trickle in. And my plan today, guys, is to sit in my studio and refresh Twitter 24/7, because I know for a fact there's going to be about 25 million names that are going to pop up.
Oh, yeah.
Are teams like K-State, we'll throw Kansas, I want to throw Nebraska in there too, teams from the Midwest that built their success on bringing kids in, you mentioned the local kids, and developing them over the course of a 4 or 5 year span, and then having them for the last year or two play really, really good. Are they at a massive disadvantage in this era of transfer portal?
That's a good question. I go back and forth on that. And I think that you can be a successful developmental program, but you have to recruit at a high level, right? And there's nobody in this area. I mean, I'll throw even Nebraska into that mix. They don't recruit at a high enough level to consistently maintain the success in the Big Ten. They might be good enough to win 10 games, 1 out of every 3 years. Maybe they'll do that and they'll make the college football playoff. But are they going to be able to keep those backups that then commit to their school? Right. And that's where you have the whole NIL thing that gets brought up, and, the guardrails on that opens up a whole nother can of worms. But I think you can still be a developmental program because I look at Indiana, and if you look at their talent composite score, it's a ranking that 24/7 puts out where they rank, okay, how many, what should your team hypothetically be ranked on paper? I think Alabama was number 7 and Indiana was number 72. They are like the lone school who's really kind of bucking this trend of not having your roster made up of mostly 4 and 5-star players able to have success. And it's because their developmental program. Kurt Signetti's brought a lot of those kids, as you mentioned, over from JMU, and he kept some kids from Indiana. He supplemented his needs in the portal. And I mean, even you look at Texas Tech, their best guys, Jacob Rodriguez, he's spent all the time in the world, his whole entire career at Texas Tech. So you need to be able to develop your stars and supplement your roster. If you can do that, and the key there is retention, obviously, you can compete. And I think Indiana is the blueprint for that.
Cole Carmody is our guest here from GoPowerCat.com. Cole, we haven't, we're not able to have you on a consistent basis because you're a very busy man, molding young minds in the youth department there. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Colin Klein coming back to Kansas State. I mean, I haven't met anybody who hasn't loved him. I mean, this is like the second story for me. It's like watching Scott Frost come back home from Nebraska. So, I mean, it's like that. So, in my opinion, what are your thoughts on Colin Klein coming back to Kansas State and and on top of that, the staff he has put together that we know to this point?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think Colin Klein hit a home run with his press conference. I mean, he has so many dynamite quotes talking about living in physicality. The favorite thing that I think he said was, some people like to visit physicality. We live there. And that is the coolest, I think, quote from a press conference I've heard in a long time. And it's stuck, and they're kind of marketing that. And he talked about it being a family business. And so all these assistant coaches he's hired, they've said, hey, it's a family business. You're going to try and get back to the roots of what made K-State so great. I think it's a great hire for K-State. There was a little bit of hesitation on my part just because, I still think Chris Kleiman had a few more good years left in him. But if he didn't think that he had a few more good years left in him, then I applaud the man for stepping aside, right? Like, it could have been very easy to do what Kyle Whittingham did and said, okay, I'm going to be done. Actually, I'm going to go take a better job. And he didn't do that. I know that these schools have come calling for Chris Kleiman for the last few years, and he stayed at Kansas State. And I think as the time goes on, especially if Colin Klein is successful, you're going to start to see Chris Kleiman applauded a lot more even than he is right now. But as far as the staff goes for Colin, I think it's been really good. The defensive side of the ball, they've loaded up on. I love the fact that they're taking multiple guys who have years of coordinator experience and having them as position coaches, because Jordan Peterson, who's the new defensive coordinator coming from Texas A&M, he was the co-defensive coordinator, but he's never run a defense on his own. And so the fact that he was able to surround himself with guys who've been defensive coordinators, I think is really good. On top of that, on the offensive side of the ball, I think it's kind of a hodgepodge at this moment, but we all know that even though there's not an offensive coordinator, Colin Klein's going to be running the show right now. So I'll be interested to see what that hire turns out to be. It might be splashy. We'll see. But I think overall, the staff, this is probably the best staff that we've seen in Manhattan since, Ron Prince, James Franklin, Scott Frost, and Raheem Morris were all on Ron Prince's staff. How crazy is that? But I think this is probably the staff he's putting together. It's probably the best staff since that Ron Prince-led staff.
Cole Carmody, GoPowerCat.com. Cole, we've mentioned about what K-State's going to look for in the portal. Are you expecting to see more exodus from this team, or do you think most of it has been announced, at least at this point in time?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think the guys who we'll see leave are guys who will either be told, hey, you're going to get recruited over, we'll help you find a new spot, or they'll see the writing on the wall. I don't think there'll be very many guys who say, actually, I'm going to go get a better offer somewhere else. I guess that could still happen. But to me, if I was a kid, I would have done that earlier if I knew I wanted to leave. Why not float your name out there earlier and have your agents work the phones and see what you can get, as opposed to, waiting until the last minute when schools are 100% in scramble mode. Let's be completely honest here, guys. There is not a single school who is comfortable with what's going on right now. Everyone's in scramble mode. So if there's a big time addition at the end, you're just limiting your market. And so I would be surprised if we see any of the big names come off the board. if there are some smaller names, I know there was a backup walk-on quarterback who entered the transfer portal this morning. I have a feeling that's because there's been some conversations that have been had about, hey, it's probably best that you move on. So we'll see if there are more guys who enter the portal today and in the coming days. You get 2 weeks to do it. I would think that would probably be the case.
Is there a guy that's entered the portal that you could see coming back?
Well, we've seen 2 so far in Donovan McIntosh and Quay Moss, 2 starters on defense, guys in the secondary, guys with eligibility. I think that's a really important get for K-State. I think Toby Osinsami, he's an edge rusher out of Wichita. He was K-State's probably best pass rusher this season until he was hurt. He is one of the more highly rated. He is the most highly rated transfer who is outgoing from Kansas State. If there is someone who I think that they're going to try and bring back, it would be him. I've said all along, guys at premium positions, I don't hate them. I don't blame them for entering the transfer portal. If you put your name out there as an edge rusher, that is the most hot commodity in all of college football right now. See what you can get. If you can get $1 million on the open market, which is the numbers that we're hearing, I mean, you would be stupid not to. If K-State's going to pay me $100,000, but, Ole Miss is going to pay me $1 million, yes, I don't care how much I love K-State, I'm going to Ole Miss. Like, you only have so much time to maximize your value. And I think that in today's age, like, it's set up that way. And I don't blame Toby Osinsami for doing that. But also, if K-State is going to come close to matching an offer that he's going to get, that's a guy who I could see returning to K-State, because I know that he really does love Manhattan.
Even with that, do you think with guys like McIntosh and Moss coming back, do you think that makes it or gives other guys maybe a second look like, maybe I should come back?
I think there's a lot to that. I think there's a lot to that, right? Like, you see your teammate who, assuming we don't know this for sure, but that's probably been in the works for a while. You enter the portal and then you have conversations with the coaches. You tell your friend, hey, you should maybe think twice about doing this. This staff knows what they're doing. Like, kids talk, right? And there's a lot of people in these players' ears, but make no mistake about it. Their teammates, they are the ones who have the loudest voices. We can sit here and talk about the agents. We can talk about the players, but let's not forget, guys, like, peer pressure is a very real thing. And if you see another guy start to come back and then another guy start to come back, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if K-State gets a handful of these guys to come back, a lot, in part because, as you just mentioned, Connor, they're teammates. They want them back.
Cole Carmody, GoPowerCats.com. Couple more quick ones for you. Austin Romaine went in the portal. How surprising was that? Because he seems like one of those K-State guys.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was a little surprised. Again, it was kind of a late one, right? So anytime you
was that one of those where Coach Klein said, I don't know if you're good enough to play here or what?
I honestly think that it's all about value, right? So what are you willing to pay for a specific position? I'm a baseball guy, and so I equate it a lot to the Moneyball scenario, right? Like, okay, you can pay Austin Romaine $800,000. That's fine. But would you rather pay Austin Romaine, who has 1 year of eligibility, $800,000, or a transfer from Louisiana Tech, for example, $350,000, and then you have the rest of that money to go elsewhere and spend? Like, is he really going to be, $400,000 less in value than Austin Romaine? I don't know. I know that Austin Romaine's a really good football player, but for the position that he plays, it just doesn't make sense for K-State to make him your second or third highest paid player on the roster, which let's be honest, guys, like, that's what K-State was doing. They were paying their homegrown guys to make sure that they didn't leave. I think we're starting to see a shift in that of, okay, well, we're going to pay the guys at the premium positions. Instead of having a $500,000 linebacker and giving an edge rusher $50,000, let's divvy that up a little bit. And if we make somebody mad, but we get more production out of a position of need, so be it.
It pays to be big and athletic. If you could be we talked about it earlier in the show, trenches matter. Guys that are big and can move people are going to make a lot of money because everybody wants them, and you obviously have to have them if you're going to win. Well, Cole, we'll let you get back to Twitter, to doom scrolling all day long. I can't imagine it.
Horrible.
I'm sorry for you, buddy. I do not like that at all. So, and this is like your second. This is like your last day, kind of vacation before.
Yes, correct.
We're going to go back and mold the young minds of youth. Cole, it's always great to have you on, buddy. Wish we could do it more. Hopefully, we'll soon. You have to let me know when you have a break from education. All right, and we'll get you back on.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cole. Cole Carmody, GoPowerCat.com. Just great stuff there from him. It's great to have him on the program, and he's always got great insight information there, particularly when it comes to Kansas State. So we'll take a break, come back, wrap up the show with some really quick picks of the weekend, and we'll get out of here next. You're listening to a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Owners Michaela and Matt Kaus at M&M Supply want to say thank you for your business. Wow, they moved a lot of Hustler mowers this last year. And then remind you, they carry DeWalt cordless tools like their chainsaws, 20 or 60 volt, and they'll cut you a deal. At M&M Supply, rural Edson, Kansas.
They range all over the plains. Those shiny fuel delivery trucks from Mittens TA of Oakley. Those pretty and polished rigs run to western and central Kansas, eastern Colorado, north to the sandhills of Nebraska, and as far south as Oklahoma. Delivering bulk diesel and gas, lubricants, and bulk DEF. Anywhere from 500 gallons to a complete semi-full. For affordable quotes and delivery information, call No Fuss Lucas Ruggles at Mittens TA of Oakley, Kansas, or online at mittensinc.com.
The holiday season just got brighter at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Wrap up the year with 0% for 36 months on all 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer and Equinox models. Or slide into a new GMC, 1.9% for 36 months on a 26 Arcadia, plus up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with Turbo Max with eligible trade-in. Big savings, big style, and big holiday cheer. Only at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Stop in today or visit online at hurlchev.com.
Keep your hometown special this new year by shopping the unique selection of women's clothing, home decor, and gifts at Lulu's Boutique in Goodland, Kansas, located at 11th and Main. You can also shop online at shoplulusboutique.net.
Start the new year in style with a remodel from Northwest Kansas Decorating Center. From updated bathrooms to fresh flooring, we've got what you need to impress, just in time to enjoy some peace and quiet after all the holiday guests. Happy New Year from Northwest Kansas Decorating Center in Colby.
All the sports you love, all in one place.
Ooh, this will come in handy.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All day, all night.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
I apologize for the producing on today's show. It has not been very smooth. There has been some technical difficulties with the computer that we're pushing through. Nonetheless, thanks again to Cole Carmody for joining us on the program. Connor Schuh, as he's got some quick picks of the weekend for us. So this is Connor's thing, and we are going to let him take the floor right now with our picks of the weekend. What do you got?
Well, we're 0-0 now. It's a new season, so
it's a new year, a new season.
It is. So we're going to get started with NFL.
Did I win last year, though, just barely by a hair?
You won by a couple games. I think it was 64 and something, and I had 62 wins. So
it was very close, neck and neck.
Yes, it was. So we'll start out with the Chiefs, again, with Chris Oladokun at the Raiders. Over-under is 36.5. Chiefs favored by 5.5, by the way.
Yeah, Chiefs favored by 5.5. Gosh. Give me the under.
Okay, under, sure. I have the Raiders covering. I think Geno and them are going to get it done. He's just, I don't know. We'll see.
Not an Oladokun guy. Okay.
No, he could be okay. We'll see. He's very, unpolished. Very early for him. Chargers at Broncos. Broncos favored by 12.5 with Chargers playing without Justin Herbert. Over-under is 37.5.
Broncos are gravity. Chargers cover. Broncos win and get the number 1 seed.
Okay. I think I agree with you. Chargers cover. I agree with the gravity statement. Chargers cover. Hold on. Panthers, Buccaneers is the next one. -3.5. Bucks are favored. 43.5 is the over-under.
I'm just going to go crazy here. Give me Carolina in a win. The Panthers in the playoffs.
It could happen.
Sounds crazy, but I'm just going to go with it.
This is win and get in. I trust. Do I trust Baker right now? I mean, you know what? Why not? Bucks win.
Okay.
All right. Seahawks. This is another one for the division. Seahawks favored by 1.5 at the 49ers. 47.5 over under.
Seahawks favored by that's 49. I'm going Seahawks. Seahawks.
Just to win?
Just to win. Give me Seahawks to win.
I agree. Go Seahawks. Love Sam Darnold and his redemption story he's got going on. Okay. And the final divisional one, Ravens favored by 3.5 at the Steelers, 40.5 over under.
I think the Ravens get it done. Just cover the 3.5.
I agree. Ravens cover. Okay. Number 17, Arizona versus SMU, a bowl game. SMU favored by 1.5. 51.5 is the over-under.
Oh, my God. Give me Arizona.
Arizona W.
Fafita.
I have Arizona covering. Okay. Navy favored by 7 versus Cincinnati without Brendan Sorsby. 54.5 is the over-under.
What a game. Is Navy favored or is Cincinnati favored?
Navy's favored.
By how much again?
7.
7. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to go Navy cover. You're playing a system that you don't. If you're Cincinnati, you're playing a system you don't always see. It's hard to stop, and you don't have your best player, which is your quarterback, because he's going to Texas Tech or whoever else is going to pay the big money. Yeah.
Let's see Cincy get a reverse upset.
Okay. All right. Got her.
We'll find out. All right. Wake Forest versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State's favored by 3. I'm just going to go out and say I got Wake Forest covering.
I'm going to go Wake covers as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good one. All right, in the FCS championship game, Illinois State versus Montana State. Montana favored by 10, 56.5 over under.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Redbirds, baby. Redbirds.
Okay.
I mean, my gosh, look at the road they've gone on to win all these games. I mean,
covers or wins?
Redbirds win, baby.
Redbirds
win and Patty.
Okay. I got them covering. I'm going to be a little more conservative. And then we got a little college basketball just to finish it up with some regional stuff after this first game. Number 24 USC at number 2 Michigan. The spread is insane. It's 22.5.
Gosh, yes.
I have to say USC covers.
Yes, I'll say USC covers, but Michigan wins.
They might win by 20.
I was going to say, but they win by 20, though.
And then this next one, your beloved Huskers.
Beloved.
At home, number 13 in the nation, favored by 2.5 against number 9 Michigan State.
Give me Michigan State to cover and win. I don't think Nebraska wins tonight, as much as I would love to see it. But got my shirt on, got my Nebraska ball shirt on. Go this way.
But, I'm riding the hot hand. I'm going Nebraska.
Okay, I hope you're right, but I think it's going to be Michigan State.
And then I wish these had spreads out now, but they don't. Kansas at UCF, so it's a pick 'em. And, I mean, come on.
I tell you what, Kansas struggled down there, but I feel better about Kansas the way they've played as of late, especially without Darren Peterson. I'm taking KU.
And this is at UCF, and UCF is 11-1.
Yes.
From that. I also think Kansas is going to win. And then finally, we got number 10 BYU at Bramlage against Kansas State.
This is going to be 2 great scorers, PJ Haggerty and AJ Batanza. Oh gosh, I'm going BYU. Kansas score it; they can't stop it. It's going to be BYU. So anyway,
you know what? Just for fun, we'll see it. We'll say Kansas State upsets. Why not?
Yeah. All right. Right. Well, we got to get out of here. So anyway, we are up against the clock. In fact, I don't know. I'm getting completely locked out of here. So anyway, I'm going to try and take over this if I can, but people are not going to let me do it. So anyway, we don't even have time for the walk-off. We're so past time. So I am going to, well, if it'll let me. I don't know if this mouse is not even going to let me do it. I swear. If it'll just let me hit the button, I would get out of here. Thank you. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, nope. We'll see you tomorrow on the Blitz. Oh, come on. What is up with this mouse? This is not going to let me do this. It's just going to completely
All right, well, we'll cut it here.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow here on the Blitz.